A surprising, sudden and a stunning exit of Jagdeep Dhankar as the Vice President of the country. And adding to what exactly happened in the past few hours is no farewell speech, no farewell address, and in many ways no farewell, so to say, ceremony for Jagdeep Dhankar. That raised questions too. Top sources, however, confirming to India Today that there's a reason. And this is not out of protocol. The reason is, according to our sources, that there is no provision of a farewell speech if someone resigns mid-term, which happened with Jagdeep Dhankar right now. Farewell happens when there is a full term that's completed. So that's the latest what has come in. My colleague Piyush Mishra joins me for the latest on that. Piyush, so there are definitely a lot of unanswered questions. Tell me about at least people who were expecting, shouldn't there be at least a farewell address, a farewell ceremony for Jagdeep Dhankar? What are sources in the government telling you?
Well, Pooja, the sources in the government have confirmed to us that there will be no farewell speech. Any kind of program will not be organized for the final goodbye of Jagdeep Dhankar, and that's because of the decision which he has taken, where he has decided to resign mid-term. Remember that his term was to expire in August 2027. Yes. He had to complete his 5th term. But that did not happen. He has resigned midway, and that's why there will be no farewell. That's what the set protocols are also telling us. On the other side, what we are also given to understand is that very soon a notification will also be issued by the Election Commission of India for the election of a new Vice President. Why? Because the post of Vice President of India is a constitutional post and it needs to be filled as soon as possible. The government sources have confirmed to us that it will be done as soon as possible, and soon after the notification is out, a new name will be given by both the sides, from the NDA side, from the India bloc side, and then we will see the entire process be followed, the election of a new Vice President. But there will be no farewell. That's what we have now been told.
A quick question, Piyush, because the Parliament is in the session. What happens then in the Rajya Sabha right now, as in when the session reconvenes? There would be an acting chair, but we will not see Jagdeep Dhankar here on at all.
Well, Harivansh, who is the deputy chairman of Rajya Sabha, he is already acting as the chairperson of Rajya Sabha. And remember that today in the morning at 11 a.m. The Rajya Sabha resumed, he was also fulfilling his duty as the chairperson of Rajya Sabha, and he was also chairing the entire proceedings. In fact, he has also met with the President of India, and this meeting was also very important. So now, till the time there is no new Vice President announced or elected, Harivansh is going to fulfill all the duties, and he will be sitting there at the chair as he is the deputy chairperson of Rajya Sabha.
So, Piyush, no farewell ceremony, no farewell address, and many will say whether this is unceremonial, the manner in which this has happened. However, he has said that this has come with regard to healthcare, medical reasons, and he's aiding to that medical advice. Appreciate you joining us, Piyush Mishra, for all the latest, and I'll keep coming back to you as and when more updates have happened. It's been quite a morning. Remember, this was sort of a late night development. So since morning, what all has happened in our political corridors, and clearly a startling revelation that came in. Sources have said Jagdeep Dhankar was definitely the proximity to opposition line on Justice Verma cash haul controversy raked up eyebrows. Dhankar took the opposition's proposal, remember, to remove Justice Yashwant Verma yesterday. The government was not aware of this, according to our sources. If the government had been informed, the ruling party MPs would have also signed the proposal, because they appear to be on the same page over this. Just 24 hours after the Vice President's shock resignation, the Ministry of Home Affairs has officially notified the resignation of Jagdeep Dhankar. So it's clear and official now, amid speculation about who will now take on the post next. While Jagdeep Dhankar resigned citing health reasons, reports are claiming that the former VP now had fainted last week also during an event. Dhankar was attending this official Delhi government event accompanied by the Delhi Lieutenant Governor when his health had deteriorated, and then there was an immediate break suggested. Former Vice President Dhankar's scheduled appearance at a Builders Association event in Jaipur was also cancelled. Event stood cancelled after the resignation was announced. But this has definitely turned interesting, and today on 5 Live, we are going to discuss the political aspect of it, how the politics has changed, or so to say, naram and garam when it comes to politics. There are no permanent friends and foes, as it is said. Once the same Jagdeep Dhankar, as a vice president, earlier governor as well of Bengal, was mocked, pushed even for impeachment by the opposition, remember? Jagdeep Dhankar is now at the center of the concern of the opposition. They're constantly asking if there's something far deeper that has happened. And clearly in the political circles, while Congress is hinting at something far deeper, BJP is calling it pure drama. Here's a detailed report of how our netas have reacted ever since this sudden, stunning, surprising exit came.
The political winds have shifted dramatically around Jagdeep Dhankar.
A senior leader of your party, videographing another member of another party, mimicry of the chairman, mimicry of speaker, how ridiculous, how shameful.
Once branded by opposition as government's mouthpiece and targeted for impeachment. Dhankar now finds unexpected defenders within the opposition. Congress leaders are questioning Dhankar's sudden resignation as vice president, flagging the absence of Kiran Rijiju and JP Nadda from a key parliament meet he chaired on Monday. Jairam Ramesh says the Business Advisory Committee met at 12:30 p.m. on Monday with both ministers present, but when it reconvened at 4:30 p.m., they did not return. Dhankar then rescheduled the meeting on Tuesday. Congress believes something serious unfolded in that window. Congress claims after Dhankar's last meeting at 6 p.m., some BJP MPs were seen rushing to Rajnath Singh's office and claim they were made to sign blank papers. Shortly after, at 9:25 p.m., Dhankar surprisingly resigned.
सरकार की तबीयत खराब है, प्रॉब्लम ये है, तो उनको कोई ना कोई बकरा मिलना चाहिए, तो वो कुछ ना कुछ बहाने बना के बेचारे को उतरवा दिए।
सारा दिन आप काम कर रहे हैं और अचानक आप इस्तीफा दे देते हैं स्वास्थ्य कारणों से, तो ये समझ में नहीं आता है। तो कुछ तो बात है, कोई ना कोई तो बात है, किसी ना किसी बात से तो इतने ज़्यादा आहत हुए कि वो इस्तीफा देने के ऊपर मजबूर हो गए।
हम जानना चाहते हैं सरकार से ऐसा हुआ क्या कि उन्होंने शाम को इस तरीके से इस्तीफा दिया है, कि क्या हेल्थ एक कारण है या उनको किसी तरीके से उन पे के ऊपर कार्रवाई की मांग हुई या कुछ हुआ है?
Leader of Rajya Sabha JP Nadda responded saying both he and Rijiju had informed Dhankar about their absence from the parliamentary meeting, insisting that he did not target the chair when he reprimanded unruly opposition benches.
Nothing will go on record. Whatever I'll say, that will go on record. You should know.
The BJP accused the opposition of double standards, questioning it for pushing for Dhankar's removal before and now suddenly rushing to his defense.
उनके दिमाग में काला है, दाल में काला नहीं है। हर चीज पर आप राजनीति कर रहे हो यार। कोई इंसान somebody is not well, वो भाई बात करते करते अब हम गिर जाएं, आप गिर जाएं, किसी को अगले पल का पता है।
This resignation has unleashed a storm of speculation, accusations and political drama, with much still left unsaid and unknown. With Aishwarya Paliwal and Maushami Singh in Delhi. Bureau Report, India Today.
So there are definitely a lot of questions that are still unanswered, and I put forth right now 5 big questions that are being asked and that are doing the rounds. On top, are health issues, as have been mentioned by the Vice President himself though, The real trigger for the resignation that came late last night was Jagdeep Dhankar, miffed that there were senior ministers from the government who skipped a meeting that he had chaired. This again happened late last evening. The Congress has jumped to mention it, that they were there but senior ministers were not in that advisory meeting. Then there is a mystery of the blank paper signatures. The Congress party appears to be claiming that there were certain BJP MPs who were made to sign on blank paper that was then used against Jagdeep Dhankar as a threat for impeachment or more. Now, the government hasn't said anything on this. But then a question to the opposition. They were the ones asking for impeachment of Jagdeep Dhankar when he was the chairperson of the Rajya Sabha. That garam opposition has suddenly turned naram on Dhankar. They are wondering what exactly happened, that he should have continued, why this sudden exit, and more, even comments with regard to his health care and treatment. But now the focus comes on Jagdeep Dhankar. Being a governor, being a vice president of the country, what role is in store for Jagdeep Dhankar here on? Let me go across to my colleague Piyush Mishra. He's been tracking all the latest from the parliament through the day. Piyush, how was this morning like? I'm sure a lot of silence, a lot of cautious statements as well. Tell us about how both sides are reacting, because eventually it is about what happened. Did something happen on 21st July night that this resignation came in, or let's take it on face value that this was about the healthcare issues?
Well, Pooja, more than silence, there were a lot of confused faces from both the sides, from the ruling dispensation and also from the opposition sides, because nobody expected Jagdeep Dhankar to resign on the very same day when he chaired the proceedings of the first day of monsoon session.
Correct.
Because we spoke to various MPs who were also part of multiple meetings, multiple deliberations with Jagdeep Dhankar, and they all told us that he did not give a signal. He did not, told us that he was not feeling well. And, everybody was like, and they were asking, why has he resigned? There are many MPs whom we meet every day, and they were coming to us out of the turn, and they were asking as to what is the reason of Jagdeep Dhankar putting down his papers. So there were a lot of confused faces. But yes, there are multiple theories that are also doing round. One about the BAC meeting. During that meeting, there are some opposition leaders who are claiming that when the second BAC meeting, which took place yesterday at 4:30 p.m., the representatives from the government, L. Murugan and Arjun Meghwal, they approached him and told him that leader of the House, J.P. Nadda, and Parliament Affairs Minister Kiren Rijiju will not be taking part in that meeting, which miffed Dhankar, and he decided to reschedule the meeting for today at 1 p.m. That's the one theory. The second theory is that, which again the opposition is claiming, that the government was already deciding to remove him, and for that multiple signatures were also being taken by the top leaders of the government of BJP MPs. But let me also tell to our viewers that the top sources in the government have clarified that those signatures were basically being taken for the impeachment motion of Justice Verma, and that process is also being followed, because remember that yesterday the motion which was admitted by Jagdeep Dhankar, that motion was basically based on signatures those were submitted by the opposition MPs. The ruling dispensation MPs, BJP MPs they did not they did not submit the signatures, and that process was being followed. So there are multiple theories those are now doing round, but at the end of the day, we also need to consider one point, that Jagdeep Dhankar was not doing well for the past many
Correct.
months. We saw he was admitted in AIIMS. He was in and out of the hospital. We also remember that he was on his visit to Uttarakhand when he fell ill, when he had to,
As recently as
take
Delhi, in
rest
fact,
also.
at that event, I think that was the most recent. He definitely had been ailing. So without a doubt, that is correct. We wish him the best of health. That's what Prime Minister Modi has also said in that clear, crisp statement that he's put out. There were health concerns, but that's why, and Piyush, thank you for putting it all in perspective right now. Nevertheless, despite all these health issues that clearly were persisting, the resignation happened out of the blue while the tenure remained. What happened? Let's just take you through the timeline yesterday. Why there's so much political commotion over this. At 4 p.m., 21st July, yesterday, Jagdeep Dhankar, the vice president then, was speaking about Justice Verma's impeachment. Now remember, the government appeared keen on it, the opposition was keen on it, signatures were being taken, a proposal was put out. By 6 p.m., The Vice President also appeared to have met opposition MPs on Justice Verma's impeachment, assuring that the proposal that has come in, there will be an update on it on the impeachment motion the next day, which is today. But by 9:25 p.m. to be specific, from the Vice President's social media handle, the resignation comes in the first line in itself saying, aiding to the medical advice and healthcare, that he steps down and he's been very proud of having served the country and, of course, thankful to President, Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. And that is why many are wondering if it appeared that the schedules were already on block. It was being planned for the next day itself. Why did the resignation come in late last night? Let me now take you through, because all of this, that the questions that are being asked, this was one Vice President and also a former governor with controversies galore around him about the opposition, about the government as well, and how was that hot and cold tenure. Here's a special report on some of the controversies, the backdrop for Jagdeep Dhankar.
मैं जगदीप धनखड़
ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं कि
मैं
20 days short of a 3-year tenure, Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar has tendered his resignation.
मैं ग्रहण करने वाला हूं।
Dhankar's tenure was marked by constitutional assertiveness, strong parliamentary interventions,
A member parliament mocking the institution of chairman. As an individual, take on me. Don't take on my background as a farmer.
global diplomatic footprints, defense advocacy, youth-centric messaging, and calls for national unity, all terminating because of health reasons. But while he carried a legacy of legal acumen and assertion, the Vice President also brushed with controversy every now and then.
संविधान के प्रति निष्ठा रखते हैं, ये अम्बेडकर का संविधान बदलना चाहते हैं।
In December last year, at least 60 opposition MPs of the India bloc moved to impeach Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar, accusing him of being partisan in his role as Rajya Sabha chairperson.
वे अपनी अगली प्रमोशन के लिए सरकार के स्पोक्स पर्सन बनकर काम कर रहे हैं, ऐसा हमें दिख रहा है।
जो चेयरमैन साहब है वो अंपायर होते हैं, वो निष्पक्ष होते हैं। चुन चुन कर सरकार बीजेपी के जो सांसद हैं उनको बुलाया गया कि बोलो आपको क्या बोलना है।
In March, the Vice President made yet another move that wasn't received well by the opposition. He dismissed a breach of privilege notice by the Congress against Home Minister Amit Shah, criticizing the motion as a move to ruin reputations.
कुछ ऐसी ताकतें हैं देश में और बाहर जो भारत की प्रगति को पचा नहीं पा रहे हैं। आप सोचिए।
Dhankar also sparked controversy in April with his fierce criticism of the Supreme Court's judgment, which set deadlines for the President to clear state assembly bills.
Parliament is supreme. It is as supreme as every individual in the country. Part of we the people is an atom in democracy, and that atom has atomic power. And that atomic power is reflected during elections. And that is why we are a democratic nation.
बहुत सहन शक्ति है।
Dhankar's parliament rebukes have a history of their own. Who can forget this moment when TMC's Kalyan Banerjee imitated Dhankar outside the parliament during an opposition protest as Rahul Gandhi captured the moment on cam? It sparked a sharp response from Dhankar.
I have adjourned the house. Imagine a senior leader of your party videographing another member of another party, mimicry of the chairman, mimicry of speaker. How ridiculous, how shameful, how unacceptable.
Last July, the Rajya Sabha chairperson reprimanded Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge for undermining the chair's authority amid opposition protests.
You cannot every time run down the chair. You cannot every time show disrespect to the chair. आप अचानक खड़े होते हैं और कुछ भी कह देते हैं, मेरी बात को समझते भी नहीं है.
You may be sitting on the chair. And I remember when I went to school.
In August, Dhankar hit back at Samajwadi Party MP Jaya Bachchan after she called his tone unacceptable.
I don't want schooling. You may be anybody. You may be a celebrity. You have to understand the decorum.
While spirited in Parliament less than a year ago, the Vice President was hospitalized weeks before the surprise announcement. He was admitted to AIIMS over cardiac-related ailments. Soon after, he fainted during an event in Uttarakhand and was advised to rest. It's been less than a month since then, and the health scares now seem cues that have culminated to the Vice President bowing out. Bureau Report, India Today.
So as it is said, no permanent friends and foes when it comes to politics. But picture abhi baki hai, because Dhankar may have quit. What happens next? The parliament is still on. And now I'm going to take you through what appears to be in the next few days, what can you expect with regard to the Vice President's position and the Chairman's position in the Rajya Sabha as well. Let's begin one by one. Now, for the Rajya Sabha, for example, the Deputy Rajya Sabha Chair, presently Harivansh Singh, already there, has been an acting chair, will take over as the acting Vice President as well. Then comes the role of the Election Commission. Election Commission will set a timetable for the new Vice President election that will be announced perhaps in the weeks or months to come. Now comes in the opportunity for the NDA and the India Bloc to announce their suggested respective candidates for the Vice President election. So it's a full-on procedure that needs to happen again. Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha members of Parliament will then vote using a single transferable vote, and all of these dates and procedure will be announced possibly in the weeks to come. And then, however, new Vice President has to be elected before September 19, 2025. That tenure could go up to 2027, but the new Vice President will have to be elected before September 19, 2025, barely over a month to go. And that winner will then get to head a full term. It's a 5-year term that the next Vice President will hope to continue. So it's going to be a long procedure. We'll be tracking who then takes over from Jagdeep Dhankar in the Vice President chair and for the Rajya Sabha as well. But there's, amid all of this, one name that has constantly cropped up, and that is Justice Yashwant Verma. Let's not forget that right now his impeachment also has been a discussion, a conversation in the Parliament. About 200 members of Parliament, both houses, submitted a motion in the Parliament to impeach Justice Verma. It's a massive push for the impeachment of the judge who's been saying that he did nothing wrong. But the Speaker, as directed by the Supreme Court, will announce the formation of an inquiry panel comprising a sitting Supreme Court judge, Chief Justice of a High Court and an eminent jurist. The panel is likely to submit its report by the next session. The impeachment motion has found backing from Lok Sabha MPs, about 152, and from the Rajya Sabha MPs, about 55. It has crossed the threshold that is needed to initiate the proceedings, so the numbers are clear for at least the motion to be taken up. And this motion to remove Justice Verma will come first in the lower house of the Parliament, the Lok Sabha. If found guilty, what are the scenarios? The motion requiring a 2/3 majority in both houses will pave the way for the removal by the President of the India. As the cash haul raises serious questions about judicial accountability and independence, this could become one of the rarest impeachments in India's legal history.
I need to inform you that I have received notice of motion under Article 217, 1B, read with Article 218 and Article 124, Sub-Article 4 of the Constitution of India, along with Section 3(1)(b) of the Judges Enquiry Act 1968, to constitute a statutory committee for removal of Justice Yashwant Verma, Judge of the High Court of Judicature at Rajasthan, at Allahabad. This has been received by me today It is signed by more than 50 members of the Council of States, and thus it meets the numerical requirement of signing by members of parliament for setting in motion a process for removal of a high court judge.
ये 63 सांसदों ने, अपोजिशन के सांसदों ने साइन किया है। आज हम लोग सबमिट किए हैं। 50 सिग्नेचर्स की जरूरत होती है। आज जो अवेलेबल थे, जो वहां पे पहुंच सके थे, उन्होंने साइन किए हैं। और भी ज्यादा लोग साइन करना चाह रहे थे, क्योंकि हम लोगों को आज ही सबमिट करना था। हम लोगों ने सबमिट किया है। सारे पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज को ऑन बोर्ड लिए हैं हम लोग। सारे अपोजिशन पार्टीज इसमें सहमत जताए हैं। हम चाहते हैं कि जो जजेस का जो ट्रायल होता है, जजेस को जो रिमूवल का जो प्रोसीजर होता है, वो सारे प्रोसीजर्स फॉलो करें। फॉलो करने के बाद उनके रिमूवल का प्रक्रिया शुरू करें।
जजेस के यहाँ पे इतना कैश बरामद होता है, वो कैश बरामद होकर वो इस्तीफा नहीं देते हैं। इंटरनल इंक्वायरी होती है, इंटरनल इंक्वायरी में उनको गिल्टी पाया जाता है, वो फिर भी इस्तीफा नहीं दे रहे हैं। एंड ही इज चैलेंजिंग दैट वर्डिक्ट इन द कोर्ट ऑफ लॉ। तो ये बनता है कि अगर एवरी आर्म ऑफ गवर्नेंस हैज टू बी ट्रांसपेरेंट, इट शुड ऑल्सो इंक्लूड द जजेस। आज अगर यही पॉलिटिशियन के साथ हुआ, फॉरगेट पॉलिटिशियन, आप जर्नलिस्ट के साथ हुआ होता, आपको तो जेल में भर दिया होता। तो ये करना, मैं मानती हूँ, ये सही संदेश होगा कि एनी काइंड ऑफ करप्शन इन एनी फॉर्म, इन एनी वे, इन एनी बॉडी ऑफ वर्क ऑफ गवर्नमेंट हैज टू बी हेल्ड अकाउंटेबल। इसलिए हम सब इस पे एकमत होकर हम कह रहे हैं इनको हटाना।
So that was one of the last statements that we heard from the Vice President, who was at that point chair also for the Rajya Sabha with regard to the impeachment motion of Justice Verma. Joining me, our legal editor Nalini Sharma with the latest on that. Nalini, you tell me, so the motion appears to have been accepted in both houses of the parliament when it came to the impeachment for Justice Verma. What happens here on to that one? And what is the procedure with regard to now that it has come in the parliament and so many members of parliament have signed on it?
Well, Pooja, there's a very important development that has taken place with regard to the entire cash haul scandal related to Justice Verma. Most importantly, we've seen yesterday that the notice was given both in the Lok Sabha, where it was signed by almost 152 MPs, is what the law minister said, as well as in the Rajya Sabha, where the Vice President has confirmed that it was signed by over 50 MPs. So the requirement in both the houses for the notice has been met. Okay. Now, what happens is that because the notice has been submitted in both the houses, as against just one house, as is the normal procedure, what happens now is that first the motion has to be accepted in both the houses. No expert committee for looking into these charges can be formulated till the time the motion is not accepted in both the houses. But once it's accepted in both the houses, then it becomes the job of the Lok Sabha Speaker and the Rajya Sabha Chairman to both get together and formulate this 3-member committee, which is eventually going to look into what kind of charges should be leveled against Justice Verma after investigating the entire matter. So that is the next step we are now expecting for the Lok Sabha Speaker and the Rajya Sabha Chairman to together constitute this 3-member committee. This 3-member committee is essentially going to have one Supreme Court judge, which can also be the sitting Chief Justice of India. It's going to have one High Court Chief Justice, which can be from any High Court across the country, and it's going to have one eminent jurist. The main job of this committee is going to be to investigate exactly what has happened. Pooja, important to point out, this is different from the committee that was set up by the Chief Justice of India, whose job it was to only do the fact-finding aspect of what had happened on the 14th and 15th March. But once this committee set up by the Parliament investigates it, they will put down the charges against him, they will put down the grounds, and then they will submit a report both to the Rajya Sabha Chairman as well as the Lok Sabha Speaker, because both of them together have formulated the committee, and then it's up to them to bring these reports into the Parliament for discussion as soon as possible.
Very interesting. Some serious developments that are taking place in the Parliament, and our colleagues will be tracking all the latest, whether it's about the judiciary or, importantly, our parliamentarians as well. Nalini, thank you very much for now. It is the beautiful monsoon season, but sadly in many parts of the country, especially in the northern belt, there's been destruction as well of monsoon mayhem. I want to take you through some of the images coming in. Relentless overnight rainfall has hit. This is Kangra Valley in Himachal Pradesh. Flooding areas as Manji, Manuni and Kholi rivers overflowing. Fog covered the region. Roads in Indora and other areas as well were damaged. Thankfully, no casualties. Continuous rainfall has caused the Assan River to overflow, leading to severe waterlogging. This is Uttarakhand's Dehradun. Residents were trapped even in their home and nearby areas. Police teams had to reach with the disaster equipment and rescue personnel to rescue them using ropes. Authorities have warned people at least living near rivers and drains to remain vigilant. In Jammu's Udhampur, look at this. Heavy rainfall submerged the Burma Bridge roads and caused waterlogging in several parts of even the city, disrupting life and movement. Badrinath Dham, Chamoli, torrential rainfall triggering the Kanchenjunga River to overflow. The Kanchan Nala spilled onto the roads, trapping vehicles and pilgrims. Many cars and bikes were caught in the powerful current as well. Rescue operations have been on, but the weather is complicating efforts. Let me now take you through the big story that is coming in. Prime Minister Modi is set to leave for a two-nation tour, and that is to the United Kingdom and also to Maldives. But UK will be very important. Remember, it's in the backdrop of the FTA deal that is set to be signed. A lot of deliberations, discussions, and a meeting with King Charles III as well. Here's a special report on that.
2.5 months after India and the United Kingdom finalized a free trade agreement, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to travel to the United Kingdom to formally seal the deal. More than 3.5 years in the making, the FTA has been described by India as ambitious and transformative, with promises to boost jobs, exports, and economic growth in both countries. The agreement eliminates tariffs on 99% of Indian goods entering the United Kingdom, effectively covering almost the entire trade value between the two nations. In return, India will cut duties on 90% of British products, with 85% of those becoming fully tariff-free within 10 years. Tariffs on British cars will drop from over 100% to 10% for a specified quota. Whiskey and gin duties will fall from 150% to 75% initially, then gradually reduce to 40% over a decade. Import duties will also be slashed on items like aerospace components, lamb, salmon, electrical machinery, soft drinks, chocolate and biscuits. In a significant shift, British firms will now have access to India's government procurement portal, a rare exception to India's usual Make in India priority.
The sectors of business, technology, research, education, innovation, the knowledge economy have emerged as key pillars of our bilateral cooperation.
The agreement also liberalizes 36 service sectors, including IT, R&D, healthcare, engineering, and education. It allows easier labor mobility and introduces additional annual visas for Indian professionals, especially in tech and healthcare. However, some sensitive sectors such as diamonds, silver, plastics, and smartphones have been kept out of the tariff cuts. Also excluded are politically and economically sensitive agricultural items, including apples, certain fruits, sugar, and rice. The FTA explicitly protects Indian dairy, keeping milk, cheese, and other dairy products under the steep import duty shield. This trade deal, finalized after 14 rounds of grueling talks, one Indian general election, and 4 UK prime ministers, is expected to boost bilateral trade from $57 billion in 2024 to $100 billion by 2030. India sees the UK FTA as a part of a broader strategy to diversify and stabilize trade, with similar pacts being pursued with the European Union, Australia, the Gulf nations, Japan, and more, aiming to shield India from global uncertainties and unpredictable policy shifts, especially with President Donald Trump shifting the goalpost from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Bureau Report, Business Today TV.
Meanwhile, there's one journey that has started, and that is for British F-35 fighter jet Remember that had been stranded at the Thiruvananthapuram International Airport in Kerala for over 40 days. It was a technical glitch at that point. It looks like it's all been repaired because the 5th generation stealth jet that landed in Kerala on 14th June after it was diverted from the Royal Navy aircraft carrier HMS Prince of Wales due to bad weather, suffered a hydraulic failure and looked for an emergency landing in India. At 10:50 a.m., the F-35B took off from the Thiruvananthapuram airport. British engineers had worked tirelessly to fix the fault with Indian technician team as well. The Indian Air Force offering all the support needed, helping in the process, even refueling. The British High Commission even thanking India for its support from the Indian Air Force and airport officials. So that's the visual of once a stranded jet and who in many ways was a guest of India has taken off as en route the original base. As they say, Atiti Devo Bhava for India, whether it's a human being or a fighter jet.
After a prolonged, stay at the Thiruvananthapuram airport, is going back from Thiruvananthapuram airport. Like I was pointing out earlier, this has been subjected to a lot of curiosity in the last many days, to be precise, around 38 days is when it was stranded at the Thiruvananthapuram airport. So finally, it is going back, putting an end to all the memes and trolls on social media. It landed on the 14th June here, made an emergency landing at Thiruvananthapuram airport, stating low fuel. It was awaiting permission from the Defence Ministry to refill and then take off. It was operating from the UK aircraft carrier HMS Prince of Wales when it landed at Thiruvananthapuram airport, where it is 38 days later, the F-35 is literally saying goodbye to Kerala after, being used as a meme and on social media, including pages like the Kerala Tourism using it for promotion as a marketing strategy. So it has finally left Thiruvananthapuram and Kerala.
Let me now take you through an inspirational journey of weight loss and how. From the pitch to real-life inspiration. He was once overweight and now he's completely fit. That's Indian batter Sarfaraz Khan. Lost 17 kgs in just 2 months. Even former England cricketer Kevin Pietersen praising him and stating his appreciation for the young gun sorting out his priorities. How did he manage to do it? Let's take a look at this report.
From fat to fit. Once trolled for being overweight, Sarfaraz Khan has come up with an epic transformation and is now shocking everyone with his fitness. The young Indian batter has lost 17 kgs in just 2 months. He shared his new pictures on Instagram, showing off a strong and fit body. Even former England cricketer Kevin Pietersen praised him and tweeted his appreciation for the young gun sorting out his priorities. KP even took a dig at Prithvi Shaw, claiming that the once promising talent now had no excuses. Sarfaraz has scored big in domestic cricket, but his fitness always raised questions. He made his India debut in 2024 but wasn't picked for the current England tour. Now, he's showing everyone that he's serious, both about his game and his body. From being trolled for being overweight to being praised, Sarfaraz Khan's journey is inspiring to every other person out there who's burdened by the lack of body fitness. Bureau Report, India Today.